Dear viewers, good morning, and I, Parminder Singh Sehgal, the host of the show, The State of the Nation, welcome you to another episode. Today, what we are taking up is a sector which is crucial to the economy of Punjab, to the lives of each and every citizen of Punjab, which is power sector. Power is our lifeline, and today we have a guest, Mr. A Venu Prasad, who is Principal Secretary to Government of Punjab and Chairman PSPCL. Mr. Venu Prasad, I would like to introduce on a very personal level as well. He is a very well qualified, besides being an Indian administrative officer. He has an MBA in finance and an MA in public policy, a deadly combination which is very useful in his day-to-day practice in his career with the government. He is today running a corporation which has annual revenues of greater than 20,000 crores, affects 85 lakh consumers, which virtually means each and every citizen of Punjab. I welcome Mr. A Venu Prasad to our show.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interact with our viewers, especially on power sector.
Sir, before I head towards the power sector, I have learned about you and your qualifications before and after becoming IAS. You are an expert in finance. You've taken an MBA finance qualification as well. You're an expert in public policy. You also have an academic qualification on that from the United States, I understand. So I would request you to speak a little about yourself first, and then we'll go into the more serious business of power sector thereafter.
I did master's degree in agriculture before joining Indian Administrative Service. In 1991, I joined. Thereafter, I did MBA in finance, and then I did MBA in public policy. These two courses, especially after getting into IAS, really helped me in all my appointments in the service, especially the finance background and with a public policy background. One can be better equipped to serve the society and also to serve the government.
What better combination could have been there than being an Indian Administrative Service officer, an MBA finance, and an expert in public policy, and then running power sector, Punjab, being the chairman of Punjab Power Corporation Limited, which is a key department or an entity which will use all your skills in all the three spheres. I request you to generally speak about the general condition of Punjab in the power sector, and what are your views? Where do we stand today?
In power sector, if you look at, there are three wings mainly. That is, one is power generation, second is transmission, third is distribution. As far as Punjab PSPCL is concerned, we are completely self-sufficient in case of generation. Similarly, if you look at transmission, one of the few states which is having completely a robust transmission system, whether you talk about 220 kV lines, whether you talk about 400 kV lines or 66 kV lines. We are having very good sufficient transmission network in the state. And if you talk about distribution, yes, Punjab is one of the first states to provide 100% electricity to all our villages way back in 1973-74. Today, our distribution is also very good system, but still there is a lot of scope to improve the distribution system so that we can provide quality power, uninterrupted power on 24/7 basis to our consumers. Especially we have now 85 lakh consumers in the state of Punjab.
Sir, coming to, you've very rightly pointed out that Punjab has reached 100% of the villages. Have we also reached 100% of the homes in Punjab?
Yes, we are 100% covered. All households, in fact, they are covered on 24/7 basis. There are few DERA DANIs, this is a continuous process. So as whenever we receive any demand from DERAs and DANIs, we are upgrading their system also on to provide electricity on 24/7 basis.
Sir, Punjab has been in power a healthy, progressive state, and we have had public sector and private sector. How do you differentiate the role between the two, and how do both private and public sector complement each other?
Yes, if you look at about 20 years back, 30 years back, complete power sector is in the hands of the public sector. That is when you talk about generation, transmission and distribution also. But today, especially in generation, private independent power producers entered into the scenario. Previously, about 10 years back, we were completely dependent on NTPC, NHPC and our state generating units. But if you look at overall scenario has been changed not only in Punjab but throughout the country and the world. The generation is more and more, it is going into the private hands, because generation requires huge investment, especially in the form of capital, initial capital. So many states have outsourced this generation with a combination of PPAs, power purchase agreements. So Punjab also similarly, now we are getting huge power from NTPC, that is a public sector, and also 3 independent power producers within the state, that is Nabha Power Limited, Talwandi Sabo Power Limited and GVK Power Plant at Goindwal Sahab. So roughly these 3 put together, we are getting about 3000 to 3500 megawatt of power against the total demand of our state, peak demand of 12,000 megawatts. So roughly today you can say 1/4 of our power is coming from these private IPPs. Rest 75% either you can say with the NTPC, NHPC or state-owned thermal stations. And we are getting solar also to an extent of about 800 megawatts solar. That is directly from the individual entrepreneurs, whether it may be farmers, whether it may be companies. So they are contributing about 800. We have a long-term PPS.
Very interesting to know about the solar power, and we would request you to speak more about its spread, how PCPL can increase purchase from solar power. Will it benefit the state? Is the solar power now a cheaper source than thermal power?
Yes, if you look at overall throughout the world, people are now shifting to non-renewables to renewable powers, especially solar and wind. They are playing a very crucial role. Now in Punjab also, we have about 800 megawatt, as I said, on solar. Now we are working on wind also. Recently, after about a month back, I have signed a PPA with the Government of India, SECI, which is responsible for the supply of solar and wind energy system to the all states in the country. So we signed a PPA at the rate of ₹2.60, a very competitive price. So overall, what I can say is future is with the wind power and solar power. These rates are coming down, whereas thermal, especially states like Punjab, because getting coal from faraway places like Jharkhand and Orissa and generating power, it's very difficult over a period of time because it requires a lot of transportation. If 1 rupee is the cost of coal, my cost of transportation is 2 rupees. So to that extent, I can say solar and other alternative sources, especially biomass. If technology is available where we can produce at a cheaper price, this entire paddy straw and wheat straw can be used for generating power. But it requires good technology which is very competitive and economical. Otherwise, power cost will be very expensive. Today, last year our average power purchase cost was 3 rupees 95 paisa. With great difficulty, we have reduced in the last 6 months we brought it down to 3 rupees 75 paisa, roughly about 15 to 20 paisa per unit. That is a big savings, I can say.
Yeah, it's more than 3% savings.
Yes.
Sir, going forward, how is your corporation encouraging or through a bidding process or inviting global tenders the increase in solar power and wind? You have recently signed for wind with the Government of India. But are there initiatives that coming from, you are the lead buyer, for the globe to know that you are looking for better power sources and better power producing, and you are a buyer for such a power?
Yes, actually Punjab, if you look at solar, our utilization, our yield in solar thermal plants is about 18 to 19%. If you compare to other states where the producers are getting an yield of 22%. That is one drawback with the Punjab geographical disposition. And similarly, our land cost is also inexpensive if you compare to other states. So now what we are thinking is, because intrastate and interstate transmission lines are available and Government of India made it free, especially for interstate transmission of solar and wind power. So we are using this facility, and as a result of this, through Government of India, we are participating in various bids. Sourcing may be different, maybe from any place. We are not bothered, but ultimately at Punjab periphery, we should get at a reasonable price.
How can we work towards reducing the costs further?
If you look at our generation cost, as I mentioned earlier, it is about 3 rupees 75 paisa. Over and above, our employee cost is roughly about 1 rupee 25 paisa per unit. So both put together about 5 rupees. And then our debt servicing, we have a loan of about 30,000 crores, which works out to be around 50 paisa per unit. Similarly, power systems require constant upgradation. It costs about 50 paisa per unit. So total cost of per unit at the end of the system, that is the ultimate pricing point, that is to the consumer, it works out to be 6 rupees per unit. Yes, I agree, it is very much on a higher side. So, but over a period of time, we should aim to reduce this cost of 6 rupees to maybe at 5 rupees level. How we can do it is, one is to reduce the employee cost. It requires a lot of automation and new systems are required. If you look at meter reading, billing and collection system itself, now smart meters are available. If we are putting smart meters at the doorsteps of individual consumer, then this entire meter reading, billing and collection system will be completely wiped out. Similarly, PSPCL this year we have started a big digital payment system campaign. We don't require clerks, accountants in the subdivision offices to collect the money. This year, our target is at least 50% of our total collections. Roughly we collect about 20,000 crores every year. At least 50% through digital means. So this leads to manpower saving and better efficiency and better realization of our collections. Similarly, we have about 30,000 crores loans on PSPCL front. Last year, you can see our average cost of funding is about 12%. This year, we brought it down to 10%. As a result, we saved roughly about 600 crores on interest payments itself. So these are the things we are doing. As a result, I can say efficiency will come with the system.
So on the employees front, do you believe that with the new technologies, with the new metering systems, with new accounting systems, bill collection systems, the corporation stands to have overemployment, or change of skills will be required for different departments for distribution, transmission, so that cost productivity of the employee can increase.
Yes, you are right. If you talk about PSPCL, about a decade back, we were having an employee strength of 1 lakh employees. Now it has been reduced to 40,000 employees. Drastic reduction, it has been done over a period of time. But now we have more retired people if you compare to the serving. And our aim is over a period of time to reduce the employee strength to about 30,000, 35,000. That is the ideal size required for the PSPCL as a corporation. And because of automation also, like if you look at substations, now we are modernizing our substations, and we are going for unmanned substations, so that substation doesn't require any human interface at all. It's a completely unmanned. So 5-6 substations connected to a SCADA system. That is the latest. We have establishing 3 SCADA centers, one at Jalandhar, another at Ludhiana and Amritsar. As a result, the manpower reduction will be huge. Similarly, in substations, previously from ordinary substations, now we are going to GIS, gas insulated substations. It will improve the efficiency, transmission capacity, and also it will reduce the manpower also. So definitely automation is helping us to reduce the manpower to a great extent.
The issue of grid failures, the state grid failures, and the issue of installation of 66 kVA power stations nearer to the doorstep of the users, how efficiently that has been addressed in the last few years?
In fact, if you look at now, what I can say is we are very self-sufficient whereas substations are concerned. Even 66 kV substations also, all our substations are not overloaded, I can say. So quality of power, especially if there is any growth center, it's a continuous process. Suppose if you look at Jirakpur, Deravasi, you might have seen a lot of urbanization in the last few years. So there you require a substation. Our people, planning department, they identified, yes, this is a growth center. So we require another new substation. So immediately we construct a new substation. And always our aim is to provide a quality power, so that number of trippings should be less. Suppose if there are more trippings, especially to industry, not only industry, but PSPCL also losing, because as I mentioned earlier, PSPCL is a power surplus state. Suppose if I am unable to sell my power, it is going to be with me only. Power, you cannot store it. So ultimately it is going to be wasted out. So my aim is to sell as much as possible. Whatever I am generating, I should be able to sell. PSPCL, one of the, I can say, parameters in power sector, we can say T&D losses, transmission and distribution losses. Our transmission losses today is about 4 to 5%, and distribution all put together about 15%. I can say is one of the lowest in the country. This year, through our intensive drive to check the theft, to improve the system, as a result of this, we are reducing T&D losses by about 1 to 1.5%. So every 1% gives us about 250 crore rupees savings per year. So this is a big achievement, I can say, because bringing from previously a decade back, it was about 30% T&D losses. Today we are talking about 15. Now we are reducing maybe to 13.5 or maybe to 14%.
So how much, what are the global standards of T&D losses?
Global standards, if you look at advanced countries like Korea, Japan, they have T&D losses about 6%.
They also have 6%.
6%, 5% to 6%.
So keeping our social issues in the system.
Yes, 10% is the best scenario, I can say. Suppose if you look at, it depends on the consumption pattern also. Like if you look into our Ludhiana circle, their T&D losses are only 8 to 9%. If we look at Mandi Govindgarh, it's only 6%, because we have very limited number of consumers there and very high industrial consumers. As a result, T&D losses are very much on lower side.
Yes.
So, because we have 85 lakh consumers, and these about 13.5% to 14%, I can say it's one of the best parameter if you compare to other states.
Because the spread is so large, 85 lakh is so large. Yeah.
And then
so as the consumption pattern increases, as the consumers also start consuming more power,
yes,
that will also lead to reduction in T&D losses. Right, sir. Coming to a issue of paying fixed charges to
yes,
under the PPA agreements. We pay something like 2,000 crores of taxpayers' money, or charge them at 44 paisa per unit or something for paying fixed charges, and as per the tariff order. How are we working to see that this burden on the consumer can be reduced, either by encouraging more usage, incentivizing usage, so that that much minimum power can be lifted?
Yes.
Or by renegotiation with them, with your empowerment to reduce cost because of other sources from where you are acquiring. So what is the best mixed solution for this?
Yes, this is one of the most, I can say, important topic of power sector, because unlike other state, Punjab, we have a peculiar consumption growth pattern. If you look at 4 months,
we have 10,000, above 10,000.
We have a maximum peak reaches up to 11,500 to 12,000 megawatts.
Yes.
So for 4 months, we are touching about 11,000 to 12,000. That is in the months of paddy and then air conditioning, hot summer season. On the other hand, in the month of December, January, February, our load reduces to 4,000 to 5,000 on an average, and even during night period, it may reduce to even 3,000.
That's a tremendous demand.
The curve is completely a bell-shaped.
Yes.
If you look at other states, the curve is more or less straight, perpendicular line, or straight parallel line, parallel to the axis. So there is a very little variation between the peak and off-peak seasons. So because of this, we are facing peculiar problem in the state. So our generating units, for 4 months they are at full load, and afterwards, because there is a complete reduction in the load, so we are operating at 20%, 30% PLF. So now today, if you ask me, all our 13 units of state generating units are closed because there is no demand. So now what we have done is very innovative thing. Now this year we have sold about 1,000 crores of power through exchange in the open market to increase our capacity utilization, to increase our PLF, and similarly this year we have tied up with Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Orissa and other states, even up to MP, Madhya Pradesh. So 4 months, what we are doing is we are using our full capacity. Out of rest 8 months, 4 months we are supplying power to these states as a part of bilateral agreement. So in the months of summer, they will give it back to us. In winter, they take power from us. So as a result of this, what you talked about 2,000 crore capacity charges, it will come down to 1,000 crores.
That's an excellent move, sir.
Yes.
That's an excellent move.
1,000 crores, there will be a saving by about 1,000 crore to PSPCL. Not only this, we are actually not paying these capacity charges to our IPPs only. We are paying huge amount to NTPC.
NTPC as well.
NHPC. Whenever any power project is designed, for that matter, any project is designed, this capacity charges, that is nothing but the capital investment interest rate or returns to equity. So you have to pay per unit. Suppose if I am getting power at the rate on an average rate of 4 rupees per unit, out of that 2 rupees 60 paisa is variable cost, that is pass through cost we call it. That is whatever the coal cost, whatever the conversion cost we have to pay on actual basis, and 1 rupee 30 paisa what we are paying is the fixed charges. Whether we schedule power or not, we have to pay that much cost. Otherwise, if you throw out the world, this is the phenomena, investment will not come because this is a guarantee fee. And at the same time in Punjab, we cannot bring power from other states also during summer to meet our peak requirement. So my capacity to bring power from outside is only restricted to 6,000 megawatt on any particular day. So if I have my requirement is more than 6,000, then I have to generate within the state. So to that extent, IPP's establishment within the state is required.
Sir, we have had a recent announcement that we are closing 2 units, Bathinda unit and the Ropur unit, power thermal units, old units which have been functioning for probably more than 3 decades.
More than 40 years.
More than 40 years. And now, even after certain revamping, you ran them for a few years and now they are facing closure. A lot of misgivings and issues are there among the common person as to understanding why they are being closed. Would you like to illustrate so that our viewers can understand that why after 40 years something has to be closed and why it cannot be revamped again?
Yes, Bathinda 4 units, complete 4 units we have closed. Similarly, Ropur also 2 units we have closed. Primarily the reason behind the closure is, one is lack of demand. Lack of demand for power within the state, that is one. Second is availability of cheaper options. Like today, if I am supplying 1 unit of power to any consumer in the state, what I do is we have a strict merit order of dispatch. Suppose my load is 5,000 today. What I will do is the cheapest power I procure first, that is Bakra Nangal power, I use it. That is available at 35 paisa per unit. The next is maybe another Sasan power, that is pithead power plants. We are getting power at 1 rupee 75 paisa. So what to do? First 5,000 I use the cheaper options, and then we grow up in the ladder. That is when we are touching about 10,000, 8,000, 9,000, then we go for the higher variable cost options. So as a result of this, because availability of cheaper options, Bathinda last year power PLF, we call it as power plant load factor, was only about 16 to 20%. When PLF is about 20%, then employee cost is very much on higher side. As a result, our per unit cost of production varies from 9 to 9 rupees 50 paisa, which is very much on higher side. Yes. Yes, we are encouraging industrialization. Recently, Punjab government announced 5 rupees power to the industry, basically with an objective to increase the industrial consumption of power so that industry develops in the state and it leads to employment also. So our ultimate objective is to reduce the cost of supply of power so that industry can grow in the state of Punjab.
You said your cost is 6 and you will be giving at 5 rupees to industry. Until you bring down your cost, government will have to bear 1 rupee per unit.
Per unit, which works out to be roughly about 1200 to 1300 crore rupees. Government is giving in the form of subsidy.
So you must be having a lot of pressure on you from the government to reduce your cost to 5 rupees at least, from 6 rupees to 5 rupees. Is it possible in a short term?
In a short term, it may not be possible, but if you look at a long term horizon, then definitely it is possible to bring it down from 6 rupees to 5 rupees. So for that we have to reduce, one is the employee cost, and second is we should go for the cheaper PPAs. The third is the complete automation, whether especially billing, meter reading, billing and collection. Fourth is we have to reduce transmission losses by at least another 2% to 3%. So that
these four segments, as you have said, sir, in how many years do you feel that corporation will be in a stage where somebody can say we have achieved 85% of the goals which you are setting?
yes, if you look at last year, corporation has incurred losses of 2,800 crores last financial year. This financial year, we are hoping that losses will be restricted to less than 500 crores. And next year, on normative basis, we may end up in profits. So this is happening basically internally. We have restructured the power corporation. We are going for cheaper options. Wherever the power is available at a cheaper price, we are going for it.
And you are going for efficiency of employees.
Efficiency of the employees and repricing of our loans. This has also contributed quite a bit to our efficiency.
Reliance buys loans at 6.5%, 7%.
Yes.
And your corporation being a state corporation with the sovereign guarantee behind you, the interest rates can certainly be brought down.
Yes, definitely. We are working in this direction. Previously, our average was about 12.5 to 13%. Today, I am at 10%. There is another there is a scope to reduce by another 1 to 2% in future.
Sir, my next question is regarding the power subsidy concept, which is very heavily talked about. Power subsidies given by government to the agriculture sector. Now they're giving it to the industrial sector. Of course, you have answered that your cost is 6 rupees, the rest somebody has to pay. But do you have, having experience as a corporation with usage quality of the power of agriculturists in pumps, in the quality of pumps that are being used, can this consumption pattern of power sector where inefficiencies are there by the users, is your corporation working on that as well so that that burden on the government can get reduced?
Yes, we are working. Suppose if you look at Punjab, we have about 13.5 lakh tube-well connections. So what we are educating farmers is you replace your inefficient motors with 5-star rated motors. As a result, 25% of his power consumption reduces drastically. Like for all new power connections, we have made it mandatory that they should go only for 4-star rating.
4-star?
4-star rating.
You're still not insisting on 5-star?
5-star, it's not available in the market to a great extent and it is very price prohibitive.
Okay.
So 4-star is very good and very efficient. So it brings about 20 to 25% efficiency in the system. That is one. Second is we recently launched a campaign that educating farmers not to use auto starters. Auto starters is especially, that is a built-in system. Whenever there is a power on, the motor starts. So that is another aspect. So third aspect is quality of power. Suppose a farmer now, for paddy season, we give 8 hours uninterrupted powers per day. Other than paddy season, we give 4 hours on alternate day. 4 hours every day or 8 hours on alternate day. So when there is a certainty that he is sure of getting power tomorrow, then he will not go for the excessive irrigation or auto starter. So now our aim is to improve the quality of power supply. Suppose if farmer is sure of 8 hours power supply, he will not excessively irrigate his fields because he is well aware tomorrow I am going to get power and thereby water.
He will not lose crop also because excessive irrigation actually damages the crop. We are told that the total subsidy bill in agriculture sector is approximately 7,000 to 8,000 crores. Is this correct numbers?
It's about 6,000 crores per year.
Per year, sir.
But if you look at the consumption of agriculture, it's more or less stagnant. Last 3 years, if the growth of tube-well consumption, power consumption is only increased by 2 to 3%.
So it's basically already giving results to your efforts.
Yes, that is one. And second thing is we have reached saturation also.
Everybody has tube well connection who is looking for one.
Yes, 13.5 lakh tube wells for a small state like Punjab. It's a very good number.
Sir, now another question arises from the point of view of common consumer. Electricity bills for every residential house or every consumers are going up. There are inflationary pressures on people, and they all look forward that for some relief in some form. Government of India has an excellent program of introduction of LED. State government has brought a program of solar panel and your corporation buying back excessive power. And there are many other steps that you are taking so that the average bill, in spite of higher usage of the consumer, can come down. You are doing LED lighting,
yes,
street lights also. You're running a program of LED bulbs being issued to consumers. So would you like to speak about that?
Yes, LED definitely it consumes very less power. Suppose an ordinary bulb is consuming about 100 wattage, whereas LED bulbs are about 9 to 10 wattage. So if a consumer is completely replacing ordinary bulb to LED, his bills will reduce to 10 to 20%. So this, what I can suggest for every consumer, wherever it is possible, they should shift to LED bulbing. So as a result, one is our load will also be managed, especially in summer peak season, but at the same time consumer will also save huge expenditure cost on power bills. Similarly, not only LED bulbs, they can shift to tube lights, they can shift to energy efficient air conditioners, energy efficient even ceiling fans are also available in the market. So as a result, I can safely say they can reduce their overall power expenditure by 50%. Similarly, farmers can also contribute to the state economy, especially to power sector, by shifting to energy efficient pump sets, by removing auto starters and using the tube wells to the extent required.
For municipal corporations also as well, sir. They are
yes.
You are taking a lot of initiative in LED lighting.
Yes, Punjab government recently announced our short-term vision about local bodies. In that, one of the main aspect is to replace all shifting completely all street lights to LED mode in the state of Punjab. This may happen by this year end. So as a result, I can safely say that municipal committees' electricity bills will be reduced by 50%. Suppose a committee which is paying 3 lakh rupees per month, the bills may come to around 1.5 lakh rupees per month. And nowadays, very good companies are available to undertake. They are taking care of the initial capital cost. Only committees have to make the payment for their O&M.
Before closing, sir, this will lead to further reduction of power consumption and give a greater challenge to you to sell it to someone else or to find new users for you. Because consumption will go down with the efficiency usage, with you encouraging users to taking actions to consume power in an efficient manner. This will reduce their bills, but they will also reduce power consumption for you.
Yes, to that extent you are right, our problem of plenty will aggravate, but it is in the interest of the consumers. Suppose if my T&D losses will come down drastically, because suppose a poor farmer is spending about 500, 600 rupees on electricity bills and it has been reduced to 100 rupees, he will use that 400 rupees maybe by shifting to an air conditioners or by shifting to gas heaters, like that. So one way or the other way he may shift to other alternative usages. To that extent you are right, but similarly now electricity exchanges are also available. Last year we have sold power only 80 crore worth power on exchange. This year I have sold about 1000 crore power on exchange. So when exchange system is available, so wherever there is a deficit, those states are bound to purchase our power during the surplus period.
Another aspect which consumers feel, especially in the commercial segment and the industrial segment, was the aggression in your department on checking and having those teams which visit. Has that process also been improved?
Yes, we have enforcement team, and every district we have an enforcement team. Now, previously we used to check randomly, but now we stopped that entire random checking procedure. Now we have a very good SAP system in the PSPCL, computerized billing system. Based on that data, we are doing data mining, data crunching. Based on that, we can easily identify where the theft is. Suppose if I am pumping 100 units into a particular area, my bill is only about, I am billing only for 80 units, then we can pinpoint through DT metering, distribution transformer metering, this area is highly theft prone. So our enforcement team normally visit these areas. Our we are not, at least as far as PSPCL is concerned, our strict instructions are not to harass honest consumer.
Sir, having enunciated the entire power sector in a very brief manner to us and in a very illustrative manner to our viewers, we have our last question to you. When can Punjab have 24/7 power at the best rates in the regional context of, say, China, Bangladesh, India, so that our industry is competitive to be able to export and to produce cheaply?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, as far as power generation is concerned, we are surplus. Now the main challenge is distribution. As far as distribution is concerned, like if you look at our weather conditions also, during fog season, we face lot of trippings problem. Now we are replacing all our insulators from porcelain to polymer. When we replace from porcelain insulator to polymer, our trippings will be drastically reduced to 25%.
So distribution will also come in.
Will be robust, and it will take care of trippings, and it will be uninterrupted power supply to all consumers, not only domestic but also for industrial consumers. Similarly, now wherever suppose in highly densely populated areas, we are going for underground cabling also. So this will also help in supplying uninterrupted power supply.
With that, sir, I thank you for joining us on this episode of the State of the Nation for Power Sector. We will request you to come once again, and we would like to discuss on local bodies that day. I understand that you are also looking after that function. Dear viewers, this was Mr. A Venu Prasad, Principal Secretary to Government of Punjab and Chairman of PSPCL, Punjab State Power Corporation Limited, on the various aspects affecting us as consumers on various sectors from agriculture, industry and domestic users. He has answered every question which came to us from our various viewers relating to the power sector. He has enumerated and answered our inhibitions about why power costs so much in Punjab and why it is not cheaper. He has also answered questions regarding subsidies and their target to reduce the subsidies in a manner which is more efficient and beneficial to the consumer. I thank you for watching our episode, and I request you to wait for our next episode of the State of the Nation for the next week. Thank you.